Walker with New England Endurance Events, and this is the Hyannis One Athletes Meeting. Thank you. This is being recorded, and it will be on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. It will also be in the Athletes Guide. We'll go ahead and add it there. So if there's information tonight that you missed or you want to see again, you can go to the Athletes Guide and you can see it there. You can go on YouTube and see this as well as all the other years that we've had. Um, some people find that helpful. If you have some teammates or friends that aren't able to join us today, you can tell them the same thing. You can go on YouTube. They can go on. I prefer the Athlete's Guide because that means that maybe somebody will read the Athlete's Guide before the race. So that's always helpful too. Um, so I'm still letting people in right here, but we want to go ahead and get started. So thank you for all of you that are showing your face. It's nice to see you. I hope that you've had a nice off season and that you're ready for a really great 2026 season. Water temp is like 68 degrees. So we're off to a good start. We had a Wellfleet sprint last weekend, and the water there was 72. Is that right, Andy? I've got Andy over here on my side for course questions. 72, I think it was, not 74, right? 72? Yeah, 72. So 72 degrees in Wellfleet. That was really nice. And right now, Craigville Beach is, 68 is really nice too. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. It's got a little presentation. I'll do lots of talking. We usually do this for those that aren't familiar with our athletes meetings. We do it in three sections. So the first section will be for all of you that have done the Hyannis Triathlon before, so you kind of have the lay of the land, but you just want to see like what things are new this year. And you'll be able to get that in that first, I'd say first 15 minutes. We'll take any questions that relate to that are really specific to that. And then the next part will be someone who hasn't raced Hyannis before, so you need to really understand like the course maps and kind of how we do things at Hyannis. And then the last, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes will be for all new athletes. So not only will we talk about our course at Hyannis, but we'll talk about triathlon in general. So if you've got questions as you go into your first triathlon, you'll be able to hopefully get those answers and you'll be able to ask questions then. So if you ask a question in the first section, but it's clearly like a newbie kind of question, I'm going to save it until later on so we can get those of you that are ready to eat dinner. You just needed that, like basic info, be able to get you guys out of there. So hopefully that all makes sense. You'll kind of see as we go along. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen with you. All right. Well, this we know. All right. Athlete's Guide. If you didn't know it before, this is where you get to the Athlete's Guide. You can also get to it by going onto our site, going onto the Hyannis One page, and then there's a box up on top, and you'll click right onto it. So either way, please read. All right. Questions. Hyannis One is designated as the state high school championships, and Hyannis One is one of the age group state championships for Massachusetts. And I'll explain that a little bit later, how they decided that Massachusetts and Florida would be this pilot program for this new way of thinking of state championships. But the state high school championship is only at Hyannis One. I'll explain how that all works a little bit. Packet pickup changed over the last few years. You'll now get an email. Thursday night or Friday morning that will have your check-in pass. And you check it over and say, yep, all my info is correct. And then you bring that with you to registration on your phone. Anyone who's not muted, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, I appreciate it. You'll need your valid USAT, always a case, but always worth mentioning. Safety swim color caps have changed from red, which is harder to see under the water, to neon green. So for Hyannis One and all of our races moving forward, they will be nice neon green, make it really easy for lifeguards to spot you. Of course, hydration is good life nutrition. I'll show you a little about that in a little bit. And again, we say it every race, but it's not bad to mention it every time. Bikes can't leave transition until the last bike is off the course. So if you will plan accordingly, You will not be able to leave. You won't be able to get out onto the course with your car, and we can't let you out of transition until all the bikes in. Not only is that a USAT rule, it's also a safety rule. So I appreciate you honoring that. Roads all look good. Always be observant and pay attention for, some little pothole or divot or anything like that. But this year it looks like DPW's done a great job. And then we have the anyone who signed up for the big three. So if you registered as like that's a package, and then you get like a knee hat, which I don't have one of right here, but you get a knee hat. We give it to you at packet pickup. Um, you'll be able to get that when you pick up your swag. So you just give your name, they've got you on the chart, and off you go. And as I mentioned to those of you that first came on with me before everyone else joined, the water temp is a balmy 68 degrees. So some people might want to wear a wetsuit, but at 68, you could kind of suck it up for the quarter mile at least. So up to you, depends on what works better for you. All right, so I was mentioning the state championship and the whole thing, right? So we've got the Massachusetts State Championships. It's that pilot program. If you hadn't, seen anything about it before, USAT sent out a few emails. The Massachusetts State Championship, as long as you live in Massachusetts, then you qualify for the Massachusetts State Championship, even if you do a race somewhere else, right? But we have a number of races right here in Massachusetts. We hope you stay. Same qualifications for nationals. So that's 35%, the top 35% of your field, or top five of your age group, whatever one is better for you. So that's for nationals. You can qualify for the 2026 nationals with Wellfleet, with Hyannis, and with Falmouth. So from all the races that happen between June 1 and July 30th of this year can either qualify for the 2026 nationals or the 2027 nationals. It's up to you. If we, for our other races or any other race that's August 1 through the end of the year, like Hyannis 2, you would qualify for the 2027 nationals. So that makes sense. So as far as nationals, that's how that goes. The point system for the state championship, you have to do three races. You can do any three races as long as you live in Massachusetts. You're considered part of the Massachusetts State Championships. And then they're going to do their point system like they normally do for rankings in general. And so you could be, like crowned the state champion in your age group. And that's all based on their regular ranking system. So that's kind of how it's different, but somehow still the same. On the other side, high school state championships, Hyannis 1 is the designated high school state championships. Any youth that is entering high school all the way through those that just graduated high school are all considered in that high school designation. Kids will have separate bike racks, and there's a swim wave just for the high school state championship age group, if you will. So that's like 13 through 18. Everyone who does our race, that is a youth that qualifies for the high school state championship, will be qualified for nationals. Doesn't matter where you end up as long as you finish the race. So, you could come in dead last, doesn't matter. If you're a youth in that high school age, you'll be able to do nationals on the sprint, in the sprint distance. All right. So hopefully that helped. You guys have any questions, throw it in chat. Course hydration, I mentioned Good Life. Good Life actually has a number of different brands. They do a lot of beef and things like that. You can go to their website, the Good Life proteins. For us, it's Good Life Nutrition, which is one of their little arms, and it's great electrolytes. So we will have this in all of our at all of our water stops. So in the Gatorade containers that will have a big Good Life sticker on it, you will have this product. It tastes great. In my opinion, tastes better than Gatorade. That doesn't take a whole lot. But it's good for you, and should help you on the course. So any questions about that, you can go to goodlifeproteins.com. You can find out more about their products. And I believe that there is a coupon that will end up in your swag bag. So if you want to buy more after the race, you can go for it. Volunteers. We always need more volunteers. So if you have family members or friends that were just going to stand on the side of the road and cheer you on for like what, maybe 5 times throughout the entire race, um, ask them to volunteer. They get a shirt, they get swag, they get to be part of the fun, and they have something to do for the next few hours while you're having a good time racing. So you can go onto our website. You see the registration button. They can register as a volunteer. All right. So now let me go off the share for a second and see if you guys anyone have any questions yet? Not one question. That's pretty good. And sounds like Andy's got a question over here. Do you?
The URL for Good Life Proteins
Yeah.
was misspelled.
Oh,
So
no.
just
Sorry about that,
ask them
guys.
to Google it or
What was it?
search
Wasn't
for
that
it.
close at least? What was it? What did I do wrong?
Two vowels transpose. That's
All right. Well, you guys can figure that out. You'll be able to, I'm sorry about my mistake, but you guys are pretty smart there. All right, so Richard's got a question. Oh no, actually, Richard has a statement um about the course. Richard, let me hang on to that for a quick sec because I'm going to show you guys the course next, and so let's incorporate that in there. Um, oh, Andy, you missed this one. Sorry. We have a new dog, and if you hear her, my apologies. Um, the All right, that is unless repaired. Oh, sorry. So Richard, quick question. So Richard said that there was some nasty potholes down the hill before the bridge, also on Bay Lane, which Bay Lane has always had some little things, which might have been repaired. Andy was there the other day, but he was in a car, and sometimes it's hard to see some of the potholes compared to being on the bike. So once he comes back from dealing with the dog, we'll ask him. All right, let's go back to our share, and I'll show you the course for those that are unfamiliar. Hold on a second. All right, so you're looking at the Olympic course, and I'll show you the sprint course. Actually, there's a sprint course right there. An Olympic. So you see the only difference in the two is this Bay Lane and the fact that you're going to do 2 loops. So let's talk about the Olympic course first, since it's sprinters going to be doing the same thing. Swim right here. I'll show you the kind of breakdown of that swim and how that works in a few slides. But ultimately, you're swimming at Craigville Beach. You're going to go up here to this traffic light, go through the light, and you've got Bumps River Road through here. Then Andy, do you want to? I know how much you like to do the course. Do you want to jump in? You want to jump on over? All right, here comes Andy, because this is his favorite part, because he is the course man and I am not. All right. So we got as far as getting on Bumps River Road. Now, before you go too far, Richard had a comment that he saw some potholes, the last time he checked, he saw some potholes that we probably want to clarify.
Richard, if you want to put those in the chat.
He did, and let me
the
get into the
location,
chat.
then I can.
There we go. Okay, so there we are.
We can check it. We're there almost every day this week.
Okay, so down the hill before the bridge, and then on Bay Lane. Did you see those when you were driving?
So that would be Main Street that in Osterville that kind of turns into South Main Street in Centerville, I'm guessing here before the bridge. Some potholes. We had some fixed last year. I wonder if they've opened up again.
Oh, but you didn't see them when you were putting out signs.
No.
Okay,
But
we'll check them.
But on that stretch, you have no choice in a car when there's not a race going on to be driving at 45 miles an hour.
Right,
or
right.
You'll get rear-ended. So
Okay, all right. So will you start? This is where I left off. Will you talk about the course?
back to Bumps River Road. I wouldn't term this course as hilly, but there are some rolling hills, and Cape Cod is not flat for those of you who haven't been to the Cape yet or very often. You'll be on very secondary roads through Centerville, and you'll turn into Osterville down at South County Road on the far left there. Yep. And South County Road, you are branching off onto Parker, which goes through a um, very high-end residential community. Don't don't spend too much time looking at the mansions, or you'll go the wrong way on the bike. Um, and you'll go down Parker Road by the golf course. You make a right turn. That's a sharp right.
Is that a
Uh,
right or a left?
left turn. Sorry, a sharp left onto uh,
Sea view.
Seaview. Yeah, I don't even have my glasses. Um, and you'll take that by the Osterville Yacht Club. Uh, you'll work your way back up into the town of Osterville, going by East Bay, very picturesque bay. Um, you'll turn onto Main Street and then start heading down toward uh, uh, back toward Craigville. Sprinters will just finish this. This is your only loop. Um, Olympic athletes, and that would include Olympic aquabikers and
Yep, that's
yeah,
it. Just
that's it.
aquabikers. Yep.
Okay.
So
We'll
you've
make a
got this
left
string.
turn onto Bay Lane. So in essence, you're not making two loops of the entire course, but you are making a second loop of some of the aspects of the course or much of the course. So you'll take Bay Lane North and then you'll join back up with Bumps River Road. You'll make a whole nother loop, and this time on your return, you just keep going straight and back down to Craigville. There is a feature of this course as you're approaching um, Craigville Beach Road. This is your getting close to returning. You've got only about a mile to go. Um, we have a part of the road that is very narrow, and because of that, uh, the police have for, oh gosh, 20 plus years
Oh,
now,
sorry about that.
asked the race to have to cone off a neutral zone. It's only a couple hundred yards long. It can be a source of frustration to some of the quicker cyclists because suddenly they're in a lane where you really can't pass. You just have to follow the bike in front of you and then get going when you make the right turn back onto Craigville Beach Road and you head back down. Trying to think, we miss anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just talking about that that section here that's coned off.
Mhm.
If you go around those cones, you do get a stiff penalty. So don't. I know that that's hard when you've got someone that's slower than you are in front of you, and you're like, man, I just want to get through here. But if you go around those cones, because of course we do have people there, if you go around the cones, you will get penalized for it. So it's not worth it. Just hang back or look, well ahead before you get to, as soon as you pass Bay Lane, start looking at who's ahead of you. And if you see there's someone that's particularly slower than you are, then, speed up, get past them. So that way you're not stuck behind them on because not only is this coned, it's also a hill. So it's kind of the worst place that you could have a cone, but we don't have a choice. It's the police department requires that we only allow one lane there. So our hands are tied with that. And we know, when we used to participate in this race before we took it over, it was what it was. Like it's, wasn't great, but it's been that way for a couple decades, maybe longer.
It's a small minor interruption in what is a beautiful race. So
True. That's a
put it
nice way
that
of putting it.
way.
Okay. All right. So Andy, so they come back to transition and then they're off on their run. Do you want to cover that? Do you want me to do that?
Well, sure. You'll head up Craigville Beach Road. You're running toward Hyannis Port. Uh, and on, sorry, don't have the,
All right. So I'll take over until you're ready. So you're gonna go up here. There's a slight hill here. And you'll go up. You'll go clockwise around here. And then if you are, this is the Olympic course, right? So if, assuming you're Olympic or aqua bike Olympic or aquathon, you're going to do a loop. So you're going to come down the hill part way and you're going to turn. There will be a, like an A-frame sign, a yellow or white, something like that. And there'll be people there. And you'll just make your loop and you'll go back around. Go ahead. You want to tell them about what roads those are?
Well, I don't know if that's that
Okay.
important, but you are making a left onto Strawberry Hill Road, a
And
right
that's right here.
onto Old Crickville Road, another right onto Old Town Road, and then a right back onto Craigville Beach Road. So that's that lollipop circle of the
Okay.
race.
And then once you've done that second loop, you're just going to go all the way down the hill to the finish line. And for those that have raced with us before, sometimes the finish line is on sand and sometimes it's on the uh,
Parking lot.
pavement parking lot. Thank you. It will be on the parking lot this year, so no sand finish. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. See, that's the sprint. Same course without the extra loop here and the extra loop here. You're just going to go around, come out. There you go. Swim, run, same thing. Just going to go around one time. All right. Aqua bike, just a reminder, that does start, the Olympic starts at 9. It's you will have a swim wave that will have the aqua bike and possibly some others in it. Point 0.9 and 20-mile bike sprint. You'll start with the sprinter, same thing. You'll have you'll have a wave. You'll be part, most likely you'll be part of a wave with other aqua bikers and possibly relays. That's only a quarter-mile swim with a 10.3, 10.2 mile bike, depending on how your bike meter goes. Overall awards only for aquabike, duathlon, and aquathon because they're not huge categories. All right. So again, there's the aquathon. I think someone was asking about that. So hopefully that's clear. So with the aquathon, you'll do your swim the same way the other Olympic distance athletes are doing, and then you're just going to run. So, you'll run up the hill, you'll do that clockwise loop, you'll turn around here, you'll do it again and come right down the beach, and then you're done. Um, Duathlon, of course, there's no swim, and it's going to start in the parking lot right by the exit, the run exit. So that's the far end of the parking lot. You'll see a blue and white um, arch, like blow up arch, that should be set up there. And you'll be able to start right there on the road. So you'll go right up the hill, do your, you can see, I'm not right here. So you're just going up about where the Olympic distance are doing their loop, but they're kind of going from the other direction. You're just going to go up to there. You're going to come back down. That way, then you'll get on the bike and off you go. And then you'll do your whole run, just like everybody else is doing for the second run, because duathlon, of course, run, bike, run. So you'll do that loop. Swim courses. So I was saying that I would explain the swim courses to you. So if you're doing the Olympic course, you're going to go clockwise. You'll start off right here. You're going to go around. You're only going to look for yellow buoys. So you're going to go around the yellow buoys, keeping them on your right. And then you'll come in to this big yellow buoy. It's close to shore, and you're going to swim around it and you're going to do a whole second loop. And then on your last loop, of course, you're just going to come in and you'll run down the beach. Um, sprint distance athletes are going to be warming up over on the side. They've got some big green buoys, so you can just avoid them altogether. They shouldn't be coming onto the course, and if they are, somebody will be yelling at them. So we'll keep them away from you guys. But that is your whole course right there. If you are sprint distance, once the Olympic distance athletes are out of the way and we can switch our lifeguards over so that way they can focus on you, you're only looking for the orange buoys. Now, most likely these other yellow buoys are going to be out there, but you don't need to worry about them. You're only going to the orange buoys. So you're just going to go straight line and then back into the beach and off you go. And you're going to be able to warm up while the Olympic distance athletes are racing, but please don't get anywhere near their course. stay to they'll end up being the looking from the beach, it will be the right of those green. They're like little green buoys. They're not like big giant ones like the race ones. But just stay over on that side, and that way you can warm up but not get a part of what's going on in the Olympic. All right, so if that helps you without all of that other nonsense that was all around the page, you've got your Olympic, two loops. There's the Olympic is triangle buoys, triangle yellow buoys. You keep those to the right. So, and then the sprint, remember, just orange buoys. And you will also stay to the right of those. There's a couple more in there too, but you're just going straight on, keeping those to your right. All right. I don't want to be beating a dead horse, but here we are. Same idea here. You've got your Olympic loop. You've got the buoy right there. So you're either going around the buoy and doing your whole Olympic course one more time, or you're finishing and you're going right in. And you guys can see kind of how that all lines up. So you are on the beach for a little bit. All right. Um, Lobster pot challenge for anyone that is part of a triathlon team. You can be part of the lobster pot challenge, and that means that you can win free entries for your team. You can win extra swag for everyone that's participating. And it's just fun. And you also get a literal lobster pot. It's got like fake lobsters in it. But you get to take that home and and show everyone how great your team was for the rest of the year. We have yoga on the beach afterwards. Our resident yogi is Terry Walsh, who's over there on the left. She also races, so that 9:30 is 9:30-ish. We will announce as soon as yoga is ready. Terry's got to get off the course, get herself something to drink before she can set up on the beach. But that will all be on the beach. We end up with a nice crowd there, so just bring a towel. You can do your yoga on. Awards, again, it's roughly 10:30. It just depends on being able to get the timing information back so that way we can have accurate awards. For the high school state championship, we do our own age group awards and we actually break up the high school aged participants a little bit so that way a 13-year-old isn't competing with an 18-year-old. We don't find that very fair. So you'll get kids will get an award within their own little age group that we have for them that we find more realistic. And then USAT has a certificate for those that are within that whole program, the high school program. So kids will be able to double dip. Nobody else does when it comes to awards. If you win an overall award, then you're out of the age groups. All right. Okay, we have C Sports is our bike support sponsor. If you get to the race and you find that your chain fell off, or you need more air in the tires or what have you, C Sports is there. Um, they putting air in the tire and their time is free. If you need a new tube or something like that, you'll want to have just a little bit of cash. They might even take Venmo or a credit card, but you'll want to pay for the tube or what have you. Also to mention, if you remember your bike plugs, the bike plugs that go right here, for those that aren't aware, you've got to have them for the to be able to go into transition. So if you just check your bike, just make sure that those bike plugs are still in place from last year. USAT memberships. The system changed a while ago, and USAT will no longer accept like paper memberships, which is what we had done before. Now it's all online. So you'll have to go through this whole thing with scanning the code and going onto your phone to be able to get a USAT membership if you don't already have one. You'll know if you don't already have one because Maureen has been sending you emails saying you complete your registration, get your USAT membership. So if you've been getting those emails or you see it when you get your check-in email, it will be there too. Then go ahead and do that before you come to the race. It will save you a ton of time. All right. Our charity partner is Boys and Girls Club this year. So we're happy to be able to support the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod. There'll be a number of volunteers out on the course that are part of the Boys and Girls Club. And you can always make a donation through registration to the club, to the Boys and Girls Club. And of course, we make a donation as well. So I hope that you that take advantage of that. All right, so there's the athlete's guide again, which means that section is over. Oh, volunteers needed. I think I mentioned it before. We do need volunteers. We always need volunteers. More volunteers on the course, the more fun it is, and the safer the race is. So if you've got somebody that's willing to volunteer, please have them register. Okay, so before we get to the new to triathlon, I'm going to answer some questions, or Andy will answer some questions. Um, all right, so let me um, let me take a look at what questions that we have. Um, Sorry, I'm going to back it up a little bit. All right. So, Richard, thank you for your note about potholes, and we will be out on the course. We will check that. And Andy usually has a bag of that like quick fix stuff. And Andy's come to sit with me.
Well,
Um,
we'll uh, we'll take a closer look at that area and see what we're able to do. We may have to spray paint and mark. Once again, the entire course is mostly secondary roads and quiet roads. That is one road that is not. So you can imagine without a police detail assisting us what it would be like trying to put a little quick seal into a hole or even spray painting. But we will definitely at least spray paint and we'll get Officer Perry out there with
yeah,
us.
I was just thinking, just ask him.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a GPX file that I
You can get a GPS file on Ride with GPS, and Kathleen and I are old school. We train. We don't go that far with our training, but we do use Map My Ride. The Hyannis course is on there as well as Ride with GPS
okay. Um, Duathlon is a single loop, correct? Yes.
for the ride,
Duathlon for both the bike and the run.
the run. Yes.
Yep. It's sprint distance. All right. So John's question is, do we get out of the water and go through the Red Arch after the first loop for the Olympic? No. I think we did that the first year, and that just was too much going on. So instead, there will be a buoy that's right by that entrance and exit, and you'll just go around that. You'll stay in the water. We'll be able to tell by your times if you've completely skipped that. You've only done one loop. Usually that's pretty obvious.
But that leads us to a need to change the athlete's guide, which must be
Is it in
a
there?
couple years old. That's what
Oh,
one
okay.
of our
Kathleen and Andy, it is in there.
Okay,
So
so we'll just
we'll
change
change
that.
it.
Okay. Um, Thanks for bringing that up. Not getting out of the water until okay, there we are. The athlete guide says that. Thank you for explaining that. We will change that in the athlete's guide by tomorrow. A bike plug, hang on to that thought. Tom, I'm going to explain that in the next section, which is all the for new triathletes. And we'll talk about bike plugs and making sure that you have that. Um, all right, and then Steph commented on that red arch is a good point of reference. So you can kind of spot to that so you know where you're going through. All right. Anyone have any other questions about that before we get to the first timers section where we can answer all sorts of questions? Anyone? No? Nothing? Okay. All right. So let's just jump right into that. You guys are doing so well. We're just getting through everything. All right. All right. So first, you're new to triathlon and you're doing Hyannis as your first race. Thank you for being here with us. You are going to love the sport, first of all. Triathlon is the best. You get lots of things to do with swim, bikes, and runs, and the community is just absolutely fantastic. All right. So transition area is for athletes only. That means no grandmas, no kids, no dogs, no uncles, no friends, nobody else but athletes, volunteers, and our staff. There will be, it's all fenced off. And there will be volunteers and staff that are at that entrance that are only going to let the athlete in. So please don't sneak anybody else in. Usually by the end of the race, there's somebody and I'm like, wait a minute, this person definitely didn't race. And they're there. So you can bring your own stuff in, you can bring your own stuff up, out, and you can set up your own transition. If you're not sure how to do that, you should practice that between now and Saturday. All right. There's the bike plugs. So this happens to be a bike that's going, the handlebars are going straight across, right? But this volunteer is putting his fingers right here to make sure that this is plugged up. So bike handles as a general rule, all the ones I've ever seen, there's a hole in the center because it's, it's like this big metal round tube, right? So you want to plug those, which normally there's already bike plugs on the ends of that. And even if you have a bike that, the handlebars are shaped differently, they normally all have those plugs. You can get some at the bike shop if you don't already have any. Um, but you'll need to make sure that's done. So if you were to crash on your bike, particularly if you have like the horn, like the ram horn handlebars, and you were to crash, that will impale you because you got a hole in metal and it just goes right through. So we don't want that. So by putting the plug, that's less likely for that to happen. So it is a requirement of USA Triathlon. It is a requirement of us, and that's for your safety. When you're going into transition, the volunteer is also going to check your brakes. So we just want to make sure that they're working fine. If either you don't have bar plugs or your brakes are super soft or not working at all, they're going to send you over to C Sports and then they can take a look at your bike. So it's not like, oh no, my race is done before it started. You just go over to C Sports and they'll help you out. They're there. So you're right there. So everyone's helping. We've got air for the tires, although I'd suggest doing it beforehand because this gets quite busy over here, but at least you know that it's available to you. Um, all right. So this is how you rack your bike. It's always by the seat or the saddle. And you put it in what seems like to some maybe backwards, right? So you're going to take your bike and you're going to scoot it under the bar and then put that seat up like it's a hook. Um, Almost all seats this will work with, even though they're small. Every once in a while, I see a seat that is really, really, really tiny and it doesn't quite stay up. But I would say 99.9% of bikes are going to be able to do this. You are never going to put it on the bar by your handlebars, particularly the brakes, because then you might end up breaking your brakes. We don't want that. And at last weekend's race, I saw someone put their bike up by by this between the bar and the front wheel. I'm not sure quite how she managed to get it all the way up there, but that would be terrible as she would get it down. She would have knocked over every single bike that was on the bike rack. So if you do it by the seat, it's easy to get it down and you're not jeopardizing everybody else's bikes. So having said that, so you've got your bike facing this way. The next bike should be facing the opposite direction. And that way we can fit more bikes on the rack. And when you go to take your bike off the rack or the person next to you goes to take their bike, your handlebars don't bang. If they do, your bike or their bike might fall over. And then someone's going to be upset. And it could be you. So you always, I'll go through transition usually at some point in the morning and I'll be like every other, and you'd be like, what is she talking about? That's what I'm talking about. One bike's facing this way, the next bike's facing the other way. Transition. So this comes up a lot. Where do you put all your stuff? And does it matter what order it's in? Some people just kind of make a little pile of stuff, but then when it comes to transition, you're going from the swim to the bike, and you're trying to fiddle through all of your things to figure out, well, I need my bike shoes, I need my helmet and all that. So you want to have that all lined up. This is like a little transition mat. If it's a towel that maybe you fold in half, that might work. A big hand towel might work as well, but you're not going to have room for a big beach towel. And all this goes to the right of your bike wheel right here. So that way it's all nice and neat, and that way you don't have, stuff flying all over the place. All right. So you've got shoes. This person uses a shoe horn, so they've got that right there. a visor, their bike number. In this case, they have a race belt, so that way they don't need to pin it to their shirt to start with. They have the race belt they'll put on. Do you see how the helmet's upside down? It's actually facing the opposite way. I would turn it around. So you want your helmet so that way it's ready to go right onto your head. So you just lay it down kind of the other direction. I put my glasses right inside my helmet, already opened. So that way I just put them right on my head, put my helmet right on, buckle it up. And I'm not taking extra steps because every second in transition is seconds you don't have to put on the course. So if you think of transition, it's part of your training. If you should actually train for transitions, and that sounds kind of funny, but you can save so much time in transition rather than, let's say, making up time on the bike or the run where you had to work even harder in training to be able to like save yourself an extra 30 seconds, let's say. In transition, you can save 30 seconds like that. So it all helps towards towards your goal of getting through the race faster. So if you have separate bike shoes from running shoes, you'd want to lay those out first. So, your wetsuit and goggles and all that, you're going to have that stuff on. So you're not going to need to have it right there in transition. And when you're done with it, you can kind of tuck it a little bit farther away from all of this because remember your bike is going to be like right through here. So you have a little bit of room. You can kind of just tuck it out of the way. Try not to leave things in the alleyways because someone's going to trip over it, or you take off your helmet because you're starting your run and your helmet gets kicked somewhere because it was like laying in the middle of laying in the middle of everyone's stuff. So if you keep all your things together, it'll be easier for you to keep track of it. And then anything that you need, you lay it right there, even your socks. So at last weekend's race, I noticed that someone had like their socks and they were all like balled up and just kind of thrown into their sneakers. But if you take it and you open it up, if you're wearing socks and you lay them out, so that way it'd be really easy for you to put on. So just think about how can I make this as smooth as possible so that way, one, you're faster, but also because it's less anxiety because if this is your very first race, well, it could be your first, within your first 10 races. It's still, you're going to be anxious. And if you already have everything laid out and ready to go, it's going to make it much easier for you. Then you're not going to be like, oh, shoot, what did I do with my, whatever. So I found that laying everything out in transition is going to be super helpful for you. I'm going to back up just a sec. So right here. So we don't have numbers on the bike racks, which means it's open racking. Besides high school students who will have their own racks, clubs that have more than six members have their own racks. So there's some racks that are reserved, but the rest of them are all open and you can decide to rack wherever you want, whatever makes the most sense for you. That also makes it hard for you to find your bike or you have your bike because you're coming in from the bike and you have to find your spot and where it goes. And that can be really difficult. And so talk about anxiety provoking. It's like going through a parking lot and trying to find your car. So my trick, if you look for something as a landmark, if considering we're facing this way, it might be like one of the handicap signs. So you're like, okay, oh, and this is also split up. So the Olympic distance are on this side and the sprint distance are on that side. So either way, wherever you are, you want to find a landmark so you can see it and go, okay, I am 1, 2, 3 racks over from that. On the opposite side that you can't see here is the road. And so there's lots of different landmarks on that side. There's like several businesses and a motel and all of that. And you can be like, okay, that red door is going to be where my bike is, and I'm 1 rack over, 2 racks over. So I found that that's much easier than trying to count how many racks you are. If you're like, okay, I'm 5 racks down this way, sometimes that gets hard to figure out when like when you're in the moment. So if you just look for a landmark, that's something that's not going to move. All right, so let me just skip over all of those again. Bike number or race numbers altogether. So you've got your bike numbers, which are here. So we're going to give you in your envelope, you're going to have you're going to have several numbers in there. One's going to be your bib for running, and that's right here. This person has a race belt on. We're not giving race belts this year, but we do give safety pins. If you have a race belt, bring it. I find that a lot easier. If you want to just do safety pins, that's fine too. And you'll pin it to the shirt that you're wearing on the run. You don't have to wear it on the bike. And you don't want to wear it in the swim because it will come off in the water if you're not wearing a wetsuit or something over it. All right, here's the bike numbers right here. So we see there's a helmet number there. So you get like a strip and it's a just a big sticker. And the inside part of it is this little, where we go? Can't get my little cursor. There we go. See, he's got a bike number right there. So you're going to put that right in your helmet. And then the other part is long and it's got two sides and it has the number on both sides. And you're going to take that and put that over your crossbar as close to the front uh, to your handlebars as you can. Sometimes if you put it farther back here, your thighs end up scraping it the whole time and you that won't be comfortable. So you want to put it as far forward as you can or on the seat post if you have room for there. That's the best way. It's completely out of your way if you have room. We're also gonna, there'll be volunteers and they're gonna put your bib number on your arm, both arms, and they're gonna put your age on your calf. That age, it's really for someone's running behind you or you're running behind somebody else, and it will help you to decide, do I need to really move faster because they're in my age group? I want to get ahead of them. Or, or maybe it doesn't matter. That person is in a completely different age group and you can save your energy until you get to the next person. But either way, USAT rules, so we do it. So they will mark you here and there. So both places. Um, in transition, no bikes are allowed to be ridden. So you will run with your bike or walk with your bike if you want to get to the mount, or yeah, to get to the mount line, and I'll show you that in a second. And same thing when you come in, there's a dismount line. You're gonna dismount your bike and then you're gonna run it into transition and put it exactly where you had it before. If you're a relay, all that transition happens at the bike rack. So if you're coming back from the swim and you're doing a relay and you've got the cyclist that's ready to go, the cyclist needs to be at the rack and you're going to go to the rack and you'll switch your timing chip and put it on the biker's ankle or whoever's not going to be doing anything will take it and put it on the cyclist or the runner and then you swap. So all that stuff happens right at the bike rack. I'm happy to explain that more if somebody needs it. All right, so this is bike out. There's a timing, there's the little timing mat, and she's got a timing chip on right here. So before you start the swim, make sure you have that on your ankle. I like to put out my left ankle because the right ankle has your gears on the bike, so just to make sure that it's not going to interfere. And then she'll just run right over that. And then right out here, I think I have a better picture, is the mount line. There's like a sign and there's somebody there yelling at you to mount your bike. So you'll scoot out of the way. If it takes you a minute to get on your bike, get on your bike and off you go. All right. So, and that's what the bike in sign looks. So she came from the road over here. There was, right in that mess of people was the dismount line and a sign and a person. And she got off of her bike, came into transition, and now she'll run through there. And you can see it right here. So they're doing exactly what she had done on the road. They were going here. There's the dismount. There's somebody yelling at them, get off your bike. And then they came right into transition. And that's it. All right, so let's answer any questions that anyone might have. The all right, hold on. I'm going to back up a little bit. You guys have lots of questions. I love that. Hold on, Sarah. Yes, the bike. Let's see. Okay, so there we are. Athlete, let's see. Athlete guy, we already determined that said get out of the water. Do not get out of the water if you're doing the Olympic distance. Bike plug. Did that help you, Tom, with explaining the bike plugs? All
Yes,
right.
it
Yes.
did.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was a question from someone who has a time trial style bike, which is different type of handlebars, and most likely you are absolutely fine. This is really only for people who have more traditional bicycles, the kind that you might see on the bike path or recreational cyclists on the road, and the end of the handlebar has fallen off out. It's usually a plastic piece. Sometimes it's metal, and if it just leaves a hole basically in the tube, and that's the danger. So, but most triathlon bikes are a different style, and that do not have that open metal end of a handlebar.
Right. So, where is stuff put? Oh, we were talking about transition. So John's question was, where is stuff put in relation to the bike, to the right of the wheel? So the wheel that's facing you. So your back wheel is going to be kind of up in the air because it's your seat is holding up your bike on the bar. So your front wheel is facing you, and I can show you that. So the you should put your stuff to the well, I always say to the right. Andy says to the left, but then you've got people going either way. So here, let me show you. Either way, you want to put it by the front wheel. So let me, I've got it up on my thing. So let me show you. All right. So what you can't see in this picture is that this person's stuff, all their transition stuff was probably laying either right here or right here. It looks like you would be facing the other way and you could put all your stuff by the back wheel, but it's not. You're supposed to put it all in the front. So that to me, when I first started triathlon, I'm like, why would I put stuff in the front wheel when I got all this space in the back? But that's the way it goes. You put it all in the front and then you just pull that bike down when you're on your way out.
It's possible you may have a bike, particularly if it's, a mountain bike or a cross bike, a hybrid bike, where you find you have difficulty mounting it the way that's shown in that picture. And if so, we do not want your bike falling over and knocking over other people's bikes.
There,
So
yeah, Beth
bike
Ann will be in
marshals, yeah,
transition. Yeah.
Beth Ann, one of the marshals in transition will help you with that.
Okay. All right. Let's, okay. So next question. Um, TT book bike we already talked about. Wear the racing bib during the bike and the run or just the run. So Lee was asking about the bib. If you Most people who have their bib safety pin to them, it's the same shirt they're wearing in the bike and the run, and that's fine. You don't have to wear it on the bike because you have bike numbers that are already on your bike, and you have your helmet number, but you have to wear it in the run, and it needs to be facing forward. Um, so that way, well, one for photographers that they're gonna find you by that number, so you want that, but also for the timer, and it's one of those other USAT rules. Put it in the front as much as sometimes you get race brain and you don't think about it, but if you can try to remember, put your bib in your bike race bib in the front.
Attach it well too, because as our crew cleans up the bicycle course at every race, we have a handful of bibs.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And bike bottles. Um, okay, so the question about how does transition tagging work for a relay team? I wish I had a better picture of that. So when you go, oh, all right, let's go back to the other picture that we had with the race bike. Okay. So let's say this is a relay team's bike. So we've got the bike, you've got three people, right? So the swimmer's going to come in from into transition. The person that's biking is right here by the bike. And by the way, I would not put my helmet, I would not attach it here because it's so easy for that to get knocked off. And then you're ready to start and your helmet is like 10 bikes down. So you always want to keep that like close, right? In that little area we were talking about to the right of your wheel where all your stuff is. So swimmer comes in, the cyclist is right here with a bike. Cyclist then puts on the helmet. Wait until the swimmer is there. Same way if you were like a single person, right? You would come in from the swim and then you would put your helmet on. So same idea with the relays. So you're going to get your helmet on, you put on your glasses, then you can take your bike off the rack And somebody needs to take this timing chip that was on the swimmer and put it on that cyclist ankle. My suggestion is if you've got three people on your team, there's a runner who's doing absolutely nothing because they're not ready to run yet, have the runner do it because the swimmer's just worked hard and the cyclist is ready to go. So give that runner something to do, take the chip off of one person, put it on the other one. Cyclist comes back. The cyclist is going to then put the bike back on the rack and take off a helmet, and then the runner can go. Again, switch the timing chip. Without the timing chip, we don't know, you won't be able to get a time because the timing chips do that. So does that and then for the finish line, the runner goes to the finish line. If the other members of the team want to like jump into the finish line, shoot and run through too, go for it. I think that would be fine. That's nice for pictures. Does that answer any questions? I missed anything about the relay team and what to do? That's probably one of our number one questions, is like kind of how does all that work? Okay. All right. I'll assume that that was answered. Um, a safe bike. All right. So Alexandra asks, is there a safe biking distance away you must be from the transition area? Is there designated swim caps? Okay. Two questions. So, a safe biking distance away from the
Maybe we
transition
should
area.
ask for clarification on that. If you're wondering about how far away you should be from other cyclists, it's about 40 feet, which I know is difficult to judge there. So in your mind, think about 6 bicycle lengths. And yes, that's a lot, but that's a USA regulation,
The
USA
regulation.
Triathlon regulation,
Yeah.
and USAT is sending people to our race. So
Right. Yeah, yeah.
be
Actually,
careful.
we will have people there. And you'll get a penalty. So something I didn't mention to the others, so glad you guys are on now. Um, at most races, there is some kind of mechanism to catch people that are going over the yellow line, like on the road, or are drafting. So if you're drafting, you're within that six lengths, bike lengths. So as Andy was mentioning, so that's drafting. So if you're doing that, then you're benefiting from the person in front of you because they're kind of breaking that air for you, and it's going around. It's going past them, and you kind of end up in their little slipstream. So that's why it's six bike lengths. So that's an advantage. And so that's why it's not allowed. So you'll get a penalty for that. You'll get a 2-minute penalty. If you cross the yellow line, you go around, let's say you've got somebody and you're like, oh, they're just in my way. I'm just going to go around. Obviously you can get hit by a car. And there's a penalty. And I think that penalty, it is in the athlete's guide. It might be 4 minutes. It is more stiff. Um,
The drafting you may find at times when you're making a turn, you're turning around a sharp corner or a corner, that it's very difficult to stay away from other cyclists. You're not going to get penalized for being close to other cyclists in those situations,
right,
and certainly in the neutral zone as well.
right. Yeah, and there's no benefit to, like there's no slipstream there when someone's going, 5 miles an hour. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. If not, rephrase it in chat and then we'll hit it in a minute. And then designated swim caps. Yeah, we have swim caps that are different per wave. Unless you are either you're anxious in the water, this is your first race, and you're like, oh man, I haven't been swimming as much as I wanted to, or I have been and I just hate the water, which happens. And you want extra eyes on you, or you have a medical condition that you think, it wouldn't be bad for these lifeguards to like make sure they like get right on me. Then you'll ask for that neon green swim cap. And that doesn't matter what wave you're in, you can always wear the neon green swim cap. Everybody else, your color of your swim cap will be determined by the wave that you're in. All right.
Question, first time, are there guides, volunteers around to help if I mess something up? Well, Kathleen and I have been doing this sport as racers for decades, and we still mess something up every race. So don't feel bad about anything that happens on Saturday. Do we have swim angels
We
this?
do. We have at least one, or maybe others, in the water. A swim angel is just somebody that will be in the last wave, usually the last part of the last wave. that is just there to swim with you. And sometimes it's just like if you're anxious, it's nice to know that you've got somebody that's kind of got your back, that's right there. So we have swim angels. Of course, the lifeguards, if you struggle in the water, and often this happens, well, for a new triathlete, unless you were like a swimmer when when you came in here, you're like a college swimmer. That's different. But for most people, it's like the swim is the thing that makes you the most anxious about the whole thing. Um, you can hang on to a lifeguard's rescue board, or there'll be a couple kayaks out there and sups and things like that. You can always hang on to a board and just take a second and regroup. Or, sometimes you start off too fast. This is a problem not just for new triathletes. I see plenty of veteran triathletes do the same thing. They start off the race and you've got like, oh yeah, here we go, we're ready to go. And everyone takes off. You're like, well, I got to keep up with them. Of course, everyone else is trying to do the exact same thing, right? So everyone takes off way too fast, except for that one college swimmer that's in that group, right? So everyone takes off too fast. Your anxiety is through the roof. Your heart rate is going. The water was colder than you thought it was a minute ago, and you might be wearing a wetsuit that you had not practiced in, which I would not suggest. So you do okay for the first 50 feet, and now you've got another, whatever, however many yards till you get to that first buoy, and all of a sudden panic sets in. There's lifeguards that are around. You can stop, hang on to the lifeguards board, and just get your breath. And then when you're ready, then off you go and you swim. So my suggestion, and if you're in the first timer wave, oh, actually I won't be calling the swim. But the our staff that will be calling, I'll be in the water, so I'll be by that first buoy. So if you need anything, hang on to my board. But the staff members that will be at the swim start will remind the new swimmers, take it easy until you get to that first buoy. So when you start off, regroup a little bit. Okay. Remember, it's your first race. Just finishing it is going to be an achievement. So enjoy the whole moment. So don't go out too hard. Relax as best you can. Um, Go slow until you get to the first buoy. And if everything feels good and your anxiety's not through the roof and your wetsuit's not choking you, then take off. Then you're great. But if you can do that, you're going to have a much better race. The whole race is going to be better because you didn't start off in a deficit in the water. So that would be my suggestion. That's what I say to all of the new triathlete waves that start with each of our races. And I get people at the end of the race come back to me and say, that was great. Yes, I took it easy and it felt great. And then I could just take off rather than, oh man, I went out way too hard and I totally panicked and there's no way I can finish that race. So we don't want that to happen for you.
So Matt's question was about the overall triathlon. So yes,
Sorry, I go on.
you
Okay.
covered a lot of the swim there. One thing I think it's important for all of our athletes to know is if you add up volunteers, staff, lifeguards, police, everyone that is at that site or in those towns on that day, it's about one for every four athletes. So there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of volunteers. If they are able to answer a question as you're running by, they will. But uh, just use this your first race as a learning process, and the goal is to complete it and have a great time, and then maybe work at getting faster.
All right. So actually, Matt's question, can you rack the day before or just Saturday? Just Saturday morning. So we don't rack the night before.
Transition opens at 5:30.
Yes. See, you got the athlete's guide open. We're there much earlier, so I forget when you guys come in. I think it's 5:30. Andy will double check though. Um, Green swim caps. All right. So Ingrid said, you mentioned earlier green swim caps. Are those given to us or should I get it? You do not have to get a green swim cap. We have plenty of swim caps. So you guys bring your goggles, your shoes, your bike, your all that stuff. We'll handle the swim caps for you. Um, for all of the different age groups and different swim groups. And then even if you're anxious, you have a swim cap. They are latex. So if you have a latex allergy, you'll want to bring your own silicone swim cap, but otherwise we will cover that. Um, uh, the so Alexandra asked, and this is a great question.
You don't have to answer that.
Okay. So if you're wearing one tri-suit, which most people do, you wear the same thing throughout the entire race, then when do you recommend putting on your bib? So if you are wearing that, if you are not wearing a wetsuit for your swim, so there's nothing covering your tri-suit, um, then you probably want the running stores have the race. It's a race belt, they call it. It doesn't have to be the one that has like room for the goo and for all that stuff. It's just a race belt, and I don't have one sitting here.
I think Amazon would deliver them within
Oh,
a
that's
day
true.
or two.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, so I would get a race belt and then just attach the bib, and we can show you how to do that at registration or when I'm around transition. Um, and then use that. If you're going to be wearing a wetsuit, for anybody else, if you're going to be wearing a wetsuit, so you're covering up your whatever it is you're wearing during the rest of the race, then you can have your bib attached to to your shirt because you're covering it up. You just the water otherwise will get into that between you and the bib and it will just tear it right off. So, and it will slow you down. So you can get a race belt if that's the case, or if you have something that you're going to be putting on for the bike or the run, then just attach the bib to whatever that is. Just practice that when your body's wet because it's a lot easier to, of course, get things on when your body's dry, and then all of a sudden you get to race day and you thought it was going to work and you struggled. So the rule is always nothing new on race day. Of course, for all of you that are on, everything is new on race day, but practice everything that you're going to do on race day so that way you know what to expect, or maybe you'll decide to change something that you're doing. All right.
Passing.
Okay. You want to do that one?
Um, you can pass another competitor anywhere on the course except for those few hundred yards that we talked about, which is a neutral zone, which is at about 1 mile to go on your bicycle ride. Um, the You pass on the left, you never pass on the right. You, I strongly suggest you uh, tell the person ahead of you you're passing on their left. You'll hear many athletes saying, on your left, in various frequencies of their voice, depending on how fast they are and how impatient they are.
And yeah,
But
exactly.
uh, as soon as you pass someone, you immediately go over to the right side again, and you stay there until it's time to pass another person.
Okay, thank you. So the next question along those lines is if you're passing someone on the bike, can you approach from directly behind them? Yes, that's it. You want to be able to kind of get close to them and then without, of course, worrying about them slowing down and you hitting them. And then you pass because you only have a short time. What is it, 10 seconds in the pass zone?
They keep changing it.
I
I have to
know.
go look it up.
So it's probably in our athlete's guide too. The whole so USAT lately
20 seconds.
20, oh, that's right, because now it's 6 lengths. So you have 20 seconds to actually make that pass and get back around them. So you'll want to be kind of close before you do that. You don't want to be like way off because you won't be able to make the turn. Or turn back to be able to turn back into them. USAT's changed that. It used to only be like 3 bike lengths, but they realized you're still drafting if you're only 3 bike lengths. So they changed it. All right, restroom availability. I can cover that one.
I think it's been answered.
Has it?
Yeah, I think
Oh, Beth Ann did.
Beth
Okay.
Steph jumped
Okay,
in.
but since this is recording and no one sees that, let me put
Oh,
in. So there are restrooms inside the building in the beach house that will be open. And we have, I think it's 8 or 10 porta potties that are outside. If you're looking at the beach house, they're on the right. So usually plenty of bathrooms.
I think those who are remaining should know the little secret.
Okay.
You may see lines of people waiting to use the porta potties. Before you get in line, walk around to the back of the porta potties and you'll see doors entering into the bathrooms. And very often I find
Just go right
that
in.
you can walk right in there, and the
Yeah,
bathroom's close to the restroom's close to empty. So can't figure it out. It's just human nature.
right.
So, all right, that's the tip.
That's a good tip. Headphones. Thank you for bringing that up, Ingrid. No headphones to anybody. Headphones are not allowed on the course. It's not safe when you can't hear everything else that's going on. And you also want to be a part of everything that's happening. I know everyone's used to listening to music or something like that when they're in training. On race day, there are no headphones. It is a 2-minute penalty to have anything in your ears or carrying something.
The police officers, the staff, the volunteers need to get your attention if they have to. So you have to be visually and hearing wise fully aware.
All right. How many people in each wave? It depends. But this will, Amy and Sylvie, you both have the same, it's kind of funny how people are writing together about the same thing without knowing it. So the next 3 questions are all about swim start. So we do, let's see, for Hyannis, for Olympic, it's usually, I don't know, 8 to 10 waves. Sprint is somewhere like more like 10 to 14 waves, just depending. So you'll be in the wave with whoever it's say if it's age group. It's not going to be like awards like 20 to 24. It might be, 20 to 39, right? So you have a whole bunch of people in the wave, but you only go 8 people at a time. So we go, everyone's in the corral together, the whole wave, which might be big, and then we'll do the first 8 people, 10 seconds later, the next 8 people, and we do that. So that way not everyone's in the water at the same time. And it makes it a little easier for you guys because otherwise it's like a mosh pit out there. So 8 people every 10-ish seconds. Your time doesn't start until you go over the timing mat. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer. If we're starting to swim and you're right there ready to go, and I get a call or whoever's doing the calling the swim gets a notice on our walkies. Hey, can you hold off on the swim for a second? We got a lot of people that are struggling out here. Then we might wait a minute. Or if I look out and I see that there's like a whole cluster of people that are around some of the lifeguard boards, then we might want to give them a minute because we want to make sure that everyone's safe out there. So sometimes we have a little bit of a delay, but it's only 8 people at a time. So the first timer waves tend to be pretty big. It could be 50, 75 people, but you're only going 8 at a time. So that has worked really well over the last few years, and it'll be less anxiety for you guys. Um, all right, so swim waves by age group or expected time. The question is, are the swimming waves by age group or expected time? They are by age group or category. So if you are in the aqua bike, you would be together. That wouldn't be by age. If you're a relay team, they'd be together. Everybody else though is by age groups, and that will be in your you'll get an email that has your check-in pass, and it will say it on there what wave and what cap color you have to. So all of that will be more obvious when you pick up your packet.
Okay.
Um,
Next question was about parking for spectators. If you have a spectator who cannot get to Craigville Beach before they close down the roads, which is pretty much about 7 o'clock or a little bit afterwards. Um, my suggestion is that they go to Four Seas Ice Cream. It's on South Main Street by the intersection with Craigville Beach Road. Um, they can Google map it and get the address and drive right there. They have a huge dirt parking lot behind them, and also an ice cream shop is not open at 7 a.m. So plenty of parking there. And we do have a number of spectators at every race who just hang out right there at that intersection of Craigville Beach Road and South Main Street. and including a lot of, I think, probably relatives of some of the racers who are in wheelchairs or they're not as ambulatory as to allow them to travel a great distance. Um, and if they want, they could walk down the street. It just has a sidewalk, Craigville Beach, right to the beach. If they'd like to walk down there and see some more of the race. So
Okay. So Beth Ann has answered this, but again, because it has to do with headphones, which is very important. And because this is recorded and those watching the recording later will not be able to see the chat. Um, the question was the headphone rule, does that include shocks? And it does.
I
Nothing in your ears or on your ears or on your head, I mean, except for a hat. No music or other sound whatsoever. That will result in a 2-minute penalty.
and we both run with shocks on our
Yeah.
recreational runs, but not during the race. You have to be totally aware, and the authorities need to be able to signal you if they need to.
Um, all right. And Richard asked, and Beth Ann answered this too. Beth Ann, thank you so much for answering questions as we're going through. But for the recording, I will state it and answer it. Are there t-shirts and other wearables available for purchase online or at the event? Beth Ann did put, for those of you that are online, the link to items that are available online for purchase. At the race, you can buy an extra t-shirt if you wanted to do that. That might be all that we have that we'll bring with us. Online, though, we do have things like race belts and or we do have socks. We might not have race belts. We could have race belts if you need that. Right, if you write info@neevents.com or just go to the website and click on that form and say you want a race belt, then we can work that out. Otherwise, Amazon's got them. Um, okay.
You at the
So I answer this one, t-shirts, but I didn't understand Richard said, saw that. What about 2026? What do you mean?
t-shirts, how to buy
The
t-shirt.
t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have the 2026 ones. Anything that didn't that wasn't picked up because we always have extra t-shirts. So we'll sell those at the race site and we have Venmo or cash, whatever works better for you. Oh, sorry. And I have Beth Ann answer that too. Thank you, Beth Ann.
I think the next one that's not answered is a bag drop off, which we do not have. And I think after you do the race or when you do the race, you'll see it's not really necessary. You can you can leave some small amount of items, by your bike in the transition area. If you have a bag, you can usually take it over to the edge of the transition area near where your bike is and place it down.
Oh,
No?
you do that all the time, don't you?
Lots of
I
people
don't
do
do
it.
that. I keep all my stuff together. But yeah, I mean, the transition area is only for athletes. So it's not like people can just go wander in and out. So everyone's stuff is there and everyone has the same, like uh no one takes anyone's stuff. Um, so we have never had a theft in our at our races ever. I think we did one in Florida and there was, but that was Florida. So but we haven't had that immunity, don't turn around and bring something super valuable, it's a transition area. But we've never had an issue. Tom said that the finisher picks link is not working. So I will make a note of that, Tom, and we will figure that out and get it fixed. Tomorrow. We won't be able to fix it tonight. But thank you for letting us know.
Does it not operate until the photos are
No,
taken?
no. So the finisher, that brings up a good point. So um if you want to get pictures of all your experience with this race, we have Finisher Pics is like the company that will come, they bring photographers and they take photos of you. So that way it's like here you are running, here you are biking, or what have you. You can buy those photos from their website. Um, It's cheaper though to buy them before the race starts. It's like a package. So so that's what's being referred to here is that you want to buy it beforehand. I don't remember what the costs are. It's in your athlete account. But if that link's not working, we want to make sure it works for you. So I have a note and we'll take care of that. Um,
Okay,
all right.
registration of athletes. I think currently it's over 300 for the sprint, over 150 for the Olympic athletes, and then another 50 to 70 for the other categories like aquabike, aquathon, duathlon.
What do you, sorry. I tuned out. What were you
I
talking
just
about?
answered a couple of guys. Okay, now you can go.
Sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about. Were you talking about like how many athletes are registered? Was that,
Yes,
did
how
I
many
understand?
athletes
Oh,
in
okay.
each category? Now, I can't quite break it down by age groups because I don't have that in front of me, but
Yeah.
you'll get a look on Saturday evening when you take a look at your results and see how you did against others your age.
Yeah, you'll know race morning because you'll be in the wave
Saturday
with
afternoon,
others.
yeah,
Yeah.
one.
The oh, so Friday, one thing I didn't mention is Friday we have packet pickup from 5 to 7. We also have the athletes we have um race clinic at 5:30, and I think that I'm the one doing that
No,
because unless you want to do it. So one of us, somebody will do. Usually we
he's
have.
the harbor master.
Oh, true. So, so usually we have a very seasoned athlete that's done this race a million times, and that normally she does it. It's kind of her thing, but she is not available. So you might get me, but you will get someone very experienced with this course and with triathlon. That 5:30 you come. We'll give you a bunch of information. Some of it will be the same, some of it won't be. And you'll have the chance to swim the course if you would like. The big buoys won't be out, but we have these little pilot buoys. They're like kind of like a yellow soccer ball. And those will be out, so you can just kind of like get a feel for the water. If you're wearing a wetsuit for the first time or the first time in a long time, bring it Friday. You're going to want to get out in the water and see how that feels. And I can help you with fitting it properly because I find that most people don't wear their wetsuit quite enough to they don't pull it up enough for it to not be choking them. So I can help you with that. But you can go out and swim, that's at your own risk. And kind of get used to the course. But we'll give you lots of tips and stuff while you're there. So that's at 5:30 on Friday. It's a lot easier if you pick up your packet on Friday. Also, anytime between 5 and 7, rather than doing it race morning, because there's usually big lines race morning and not big lines on Friday. Um, okay, let's see. Did we answer all the questions? Yeah, lots of questions. Anyone have any other questions before we let you guys go? We really appreciate you all being on. We're really looking forward um to having you for race Saturday morning and hopefully seeing you Friday night. And thanks some of our staff that is on now, and they've been answering some questions for you all. Most of our staff are athletes or triathletes. So you can ask questions. And I think Beth Ann will I'm trying to think of where we were. Beth Ann ends up in transition a bit. And she's on right now. She's been answering a bunch of questions. She's a seasoned triathlete. And you can ask her anything. She'll be able to give you a straight answer. All right. I hope you guys have, let's see, another thing.
Oh, question just came in sideways, which is I'm not sure if it's
Oh,
tongue in cheek or not, but the uh, when you hear on TV news or read about the great white sharks on Cape Cod, those sharks are predominantly, almost entirely along the outer coast of Cape Cod and into Cape Cod Bay. Um, to our knowledge, there has yet to be any great white sighting anywhere near the beach where you'll be swimming. And I've asked the harbor master, and they're out there every day, and they're listening to all the fish stories and everything else. And so that has not been a concern at this point. the harbor master said to me, if ever we get to the point where you see 20 or 30 seals out there, says, then I'd be worried. But the great whites go after bait. They don't go somewhere where there's no attractive seals to chomp on. So
Okay. All
that's
right.
it.
So Mask, another question. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Alexandra. Fueling on the course. There will be that if you saw way a long time ago, we were talking about the Nutra Good Life, the Good Life Nutrition. So that will be the hydration product that is out on the run course. Bike course, you want to put stuff in your bike bottle. And then there's water on the run course. You end up with one, two, you end up with at least four opportunities to get water or Good Life when you come out of the swim. When you start off on your run before you actually get all the way out of transition, partway up the run course, where some people will be turning around either the Olympic course going the other way or duathletes, and then out on the far side of the run course will also be water and Good Life. But we don't do anything else like goos and all that stuff. You got to bring your own. You know what you've been using and training with. You know, you don't want anything new on race day. Last thing you need is something that's going to upset your stomach when you're running. So that's all on you as far as nutrition. Um, all right. I think that was
That's it.
I think that was it. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on either Friday night or Saturday. Have a great night.